Hello everyone, I hope you are absolutely amazing. Today you have stumbled upon, we're reading through volume 3 of, this is essentially my new book. This is volume 3 of my harm reduction, empowerment and education program, which is Preflight Safety Instructions. This is Rosie, my emotional support dragon. She's here to make sure that, well, that I keep my ass on track. Because, well, everybody needs that little bit of love and that little bit of support. And if I have to get it from a 3D printed fucking dragon to be able to get this shit done, then let's fucking go. So today we are covering panic and fear. In the section immediately after this, the video after this, we will be learning how to stop a panic attack in real time as it occurs. So if you are actively in crisis right now and are looking to learn a lot more about getting the fuck out of it, please go to the next section and then come back here after. But this gives the next section a lot more context within the book itself, and we're reading through the book. So, but if you're having a panic attack and you're in crisis, please go first of all to the next section, as well as part 2 of the reading of the book, in crisis, and that'll give you some immediate information on how to help yourself, at least on a physical and a very short-term mental level, to be able to help your ass stop. Right? And this is coming from a loving place. This is just, go check that stuff out, and that'll help you out a little bit further along. This is more like, you're going to get a little bit more of the background behind this. So panic and fear, unfortunately, a very personal point for me. For at one point, I really just couldn't get ahead of the panic and fear, and it actually lasted for a lot longer than I realized. Excuse me. The symptoms of a panic attack. We have heightened vigilance for external threats, as well as physical symptoms. Heart racing, hyperventilating, chest discomfort, strong feelings of panic, dread, terror. Like, it really sucks. Like, there's a whole laundry list, right? You feel like you're gonna go insane. There's derealization, dehumanization, detachment. There's tingling, especially in your extremities. There's a lot of numbness, trembling, unsteadiness, dizziness, shaking, and unfortunately very, very sweaty. So this is coming from the American Psychological Association. This is from 2013, from the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, obviously the 5th edition. Where actually I came across some of fantastic information through something called Mental Health Australia, Mental Health First Aid Australia. My apologies. Released in 2021, it's a set of PDFs, amazingly written, so comprehensive. I 100% support and love and appreciate the fact that they did that they created this and hopefully saved and helped out a lot of people. So please go check that out. That's Mental Health First Aid Australia. The PDFs, I believe, released in 2021. That's what I came across from mine for here. So instead of constantly rotating through panic and fear, I got very angry and I fell down this rabbit hole as far as research. This was years ago when I first hit rock bottom, right? So. The fear remained even so, and the long-term effects of exhaustion were settling in even once I was no longer in full crisis mode, even though I kind of acknowledged that I was safe. So I kept telling myself, take long, deep breaths. You'll get ahead of this. You've just been triggered by some nonsense, and that bullshit is no longer a threat to you. You need to keep telling yourself that bullshit is no longer a threat to you. Panic and fear were definitively the catalyst to my addictions, though. My debilitating attacks began when I was 6. I still don't remember exactly what happened, but like, I don't need to. I know enough. I have enough of a memory of bullshit. I don't need. This was a trauma loop necessitating completion, though, and I eventually recognized that I needed to change how I automatically reacted to my triggers. I eventually learned how to differentiate between my instinct and my anxiety, and both on a physiological as well as psychological level, and I was able to regain some kind of control on how I responded to my bullshit. Okay, so can you get rid of our trauma response entirely? But you can definitely learn how to stop letting your conditioned fear control your everyday. I mean, experiencing trauma is such a severe event that it leaves a permanent imprint upon your emotional memory center. This is Davis in 1992, as well as Dubarchi and Pare in 2014. Your brain is highly sensitive to anything reminding you of traumatic events, to avoid essentially further trauma. This is Feinstein and Friends in 2011. Once you learn the freeze trauma response, your brain acknowledges this method as something you employed that this method that you employed resulted in survival. There you go. Permanent memory. Therefore, it's soon in no time it becomes instinct, because your brain is soon like, oh yeah, this works every time. Sort of. But either way, you didn't die. So of course, so that's Van der Kolk in 2006. It's not impossible to unlearn all of this shit though, especially your freeze response or even your fawn. It's not impossible to unlearn, but you're also unlearning decades of reinforced fear and addiction loops. This journey won't be easy, but it's completely within your reach, entirely attainable, and I have so much faith in you, and I'm going to provide you with all the random shit that works for me. Okay. Once again, still not perfect, but not dead yet. Yes. In no way. I'm not looking for perfection. Fuck that noise. I'm good. Okay, so Van der Kolk suggests the most effective therapy requires increasing your interoception, which we discussed in the last section, which is understanding your internal reactions, right? But modulating arousal, that's like your emotional self-regulation, right? But also the autonomic arousal, which is your heart racing, that immediate adrenaline cortisol response, right? Learning how to understand and modulate that, alongside learning to participate in effective action when you are experiencing hostility and physical helplessness. So essentially, it's learning to cut a bitch when you are threatened. Okay? So how do you learn how to do this? You start small with very easily attainable goals. It takes less than 3 seconds to trigger a sympathetic fight or flight response, with epinephrine instantly responding to your first inkling. This is Shakar and Friends in 2003. So most specifically is that you feel your heart race and you get all of these autonomic reactions before you even recognize that you've either been triggered. So like you already feel like you've got to haul ass or not move or fight or whatever, when in truth it was just something that reminded you of that negative thing. So as long as you can essentially learn how to separate your instinct from your anxiety, but also that physiological reaction from that psychological, that it's to separate that like, okay, my heart is racing, but I have to recognize that my heart is racing because I've been triggered, not because there's a bear behind me. And then you stop feeling like you have to puke on your shoes, and then you're good. And then, anyway, it's a work in progress. We'll just leave it at that. So, essentially, but then again, like even just understanding your triggers and being able to recognize and separate the physiological from the psychological can only be done when with logic, and you can only have logic if you can even think straight. So if you're essentially the next section that we're going to cover is going to be teaching you how to be able to stop a panic attack in its tracks through the methods that I had to learn, essentially through a better understanding of your neurochemistry as well as your own autonomic nervous system, and taking control, and just simply recognizing that if you are able to control an autonomic response like that, then you have a lot more control over your own life than you recognize. So let's go on to the next section. It's called Triggers Get Fucked. And know that I will see you very soon.